All right. Welcome, everyone, to this month's channel transmission from Ozenan. So, ordinarily, we do this with a group of people who come in and ask questions, and my facilitator, Frankie, facilitates and sort of um, manages the room while this group of people ask questions of Ozenan. But what I thought would be really interesting this month is to basically collect lots of submitted questions from a variety of people and have Frankie ask those questions and then make this video publicly available to everyone. I think this will give you a great idea of how the group sessions work. And also, it just feels like there's information that Azanan wants to share that's going to be for everyone who views this video. So if you are new to this work, my name is Brittany Wittig. I am a channeler and a fear alchemist, and I am going to be direct verbal channeling a collective of beings that call themselves Azanan. They are a collective of Pleiadian beings. That's what they've explained to me. And the way that this works is they essentially speak through me as one voice. And when I'm doing this, I am still present. I'm conscious and aware, but I am essentially in the back seat of my consciousness. That's the best way I could describe it. And they are in the front seat speaking. But I do have the ability to stop anytime I want. And again, I am present. I do tend to forget what Azanan says and have to rewatch the videos to remember myself. So that's the basics of what I'm going to be doing today. The process will be that we will do a short guided breathing exercise together that I will walk all of us through. I know that everyone watching here is watching in my future, and I would encourage you in your now moment to participate in this breathing exercise. It does help all of us become aligned. Energy doesn't know time and space. So if you take the time in your future moment, your future now moment, to breathe with me in my now moment, it will help us connect our energies and it will allow Azanan to incorporate your energy into their answers today, which is one of the very cool things about this work. So after that breathing exercise, then I will bring Azanan in. They will share a transmission that will be tailored to everyone who ever experiences this video. And then they will open up for questions, and my facilitator, Frankie, will ask questions that all of you have submitted. So thank you. And I would love to take a moment to allow Frankie to introduce herself as well.
Hi, I'm Frankie, Francis Trejolet for people who know me in the world. Um, so I am I've been moving into the lightworker space. So I have a Reiki certification to the master level. I also just completed a medical intuitive program. And both of those I never saw myself in these roles, first of all. I was a very practical person, very skeptical person, questioned everything. And then I went through something in my life that had me shift my entire focus and remember, oh, I have a spirit. And I did start that as a young person. I was very much in Catholic youth. When the Pope came, I went to go hang out. It was like I was part of that movement. And then I stepped away, and then I had this experience, and then I'm back, but in a different way. And so I'm very much into looking at modern spirituality and the gifts it can bring to help us be whole and complete. And not like there's anything wrong with us. That's something I'm learning. Um, but in a way that we're fulfilled and just on fire for our lives and like excited to be the best at who we are. And when Brittany started channeling Azanan directly, I was really fascinated, and I love the opportunity to be able to have that dialogue with beings that can see us. I'm a human being in my own soup here, and I can get lost in my own mental loops. whereas someone outside can see something else. So we have those guys that we may pay to see, like a coach or something. But this is kind of like a coach that's got a view on things and from a different level. And I really appreciate the clarity. I sometimes have like an either or situation and I come with my questions and I ask my juiciest questions because sometimes this is kind of strange, right? I mean, not it's not an everyday thing that I didn't know when I was a child I could come to some entity called Ozenan and ask questions. But it's fascinating. It has brought so much richness to my life, and I wanted to be involved. And I'm also a women's circle facilitator, so I'm really interested in creating sacred space and holding space where we have this intention that people get the answers that they're seeking. You should know that we are not altering the questions in any way. I'm going to ask them exactly as they were typed because I don't know what context they're being asked in, but Azanan will know. I'm pretty clear that Azanan knows. So that's a little bit about me, and mostly I just keep track of time and making sure that the vessel called Brittany is safe and happy, and she can you know we want to protect her as well as allowing Azanan the space to say what there is to say, and that's it.
Thank you so much, Frankie. And I so, so appreciate your facilitation. It's like such a huge help. Okay. Wonderful. So let's see. Do. I want to make sure the view is good here. Okay. All right. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start um, just by taking us through a little breathing visualization exercise. All you need to do for this is just get comfortable. You can be sitting up or laying down. You will probably want to close your eyes. That is suggested. So just take a moment to get comfortable. Closing down your eyes and just beginning to very consciously take longer and deeper breaths. Slowing down the rate of your breathing, taking deeper breaths, but keeping it at a rate and a depth that feels comfortable, that feels good, that feels soothing to your body. And as you breathe, and as you consciously slow down and become present in the now, just know that this is a time and a space where you can leave your day behind and connect deeply with yourself, with the earth, and with the universe. And feeling yourself sinking into the surface that's holding you, and feeling that surface rise up to support your body. Feeling yourself held in this way. And as you inhale, noticing the nourishment of that air moving into your body, that oxygen dispersing throughout your body and into your cells. And as you exhale, noticing the sweet release of the air moving out, of that carbon dioxide moving out of your lungs and into the environment where it will nourish other beings. And just remembering that this cycle, the taking in of nourishment, and the releasing of what no longer serves. This cycle is foundational to life on this planet. We see it in so many ways. It's so foundational that we often forget it's even happening. And now beginning to imagine that there is a sphere of light just above your head. And this sphere of light, this ball of light, can be any color you see. Whatever you imagine here is perfect for you. And as you notice this ball of light, it begins to spin quickly. And as it does, a bright white beam of light shoots down from the heavens above, connecting with the ball of light above your head. And this beam of white light from the universe moves through the ball of light above your head and into the top of your head, through your crown chakra, and shoots down through your body and out either your tailbone or your feet and into the ground below you. And this white beam of light shooting down from the universe through your body and now down into the ground beneath you continues to travel into the earth beneath you. And this white beam of light continues deeper and deeper through the earth, through the layers of rock, down, down until this white beam of universal light makes its way to the very center of the planet, where it finds a huge ball of liquid light that is the heart of planet Earth. And this universal white beam of light makes its way into this ball of liquid light, this heart of the earth. And as it does, this heart of the earth begins to pulse with powerful, soothing earth energy. And this powerful, soothing earth energy makes its way back up the beam of light, up through layers of rock and earth. This earth heart energy makes its way up, up until it begins to fill your body, grounding you to your home planet. And this heart energy of the earth mixes and mingles with the universal light within you. And it continues to make its way up, filling your body, and eventually up through the ball of light above your head, and up, up the universal beam of light, making its way back to the origin of the universe, where that white beam of light emanates from. And now just breathe here for a few breaths, allowing yourself to feel deeply grounded to your home planet, while also feeling your immense connection to the universe, which is also your home. And when you're ready, taking one last deep breath, very gently opening your eyes back up. Okay, wonderful. So now I'm going to bring Ozenan through, and they are just going to share a transmission. These transmissions are always tailored energetically to everyone who will experience the transmission. So even if you're watching this a year, 2 years down the road, there will be something for you in this transmission. So I would encourage you to listen with an open mind. And then Ozanon, when they're complete with that transmission, they will open the floor so that Frankie can begin asking the questions that we collected for them. Yes, Frankie.
So we're starting the channeling at 11:25. You still want to stop at the time we said?
Let's do it until 12:20.
Okay.
Do 12:20. We'll
Yeah.
give a couple extra minutes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All
Mhm.
right.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring Ozanon in, and we'll see what they have to say today. Yes, we are here, and we are pleased to communicate with this group of humans in this way. We are aware that many humans will view this transmission, and we would like to first speak to a topic that we have not directly spoken to before, and that we feel is a necessity in humanity's current geopolitical climate. We would like to speak to the idea of sweetness. Sweetness is a word that many humans do not often consider or bring into their minds. It is a word that many humans deem weak or frivolous. What we would like to encourage all of you to do is reframe your relationship with sweetness if you do see it as perhaps weak or frivolous. Sweetness, in the way that we speak about it, sweetness is finding the sweetness of life, finding the sweetness of existence, finding the sweetness of your humanity and your human experience. There are many layers to this word. If you take it at complete face value, sweetness refers to a a flavor that is created by the different sugars in your world as you consume them as a human. So there is the most basic definition of sweetness. Sweetness can also refer to a personality trait, sweetness in a human personality. And we would speak to this first. We would encourage you not to force sweetness in your personality ever. We would encourage you not to force anything in your personality ever. And there is a tendency in your modern human world for humans to force or occasionally fake sweetness in their personality in order to try to push an outcome of their choosing. And often a human will not be aware that they are employing sweetness in this way. They will think, oh, well, I am being sweet because that is the nice thing to do. But we would encourage you to consider that if the sweetness is not real, it is not really a very nice thing to do to employ it in this way. Instead, you are using it as a tool to try and push an outcome that you prefer in an interaction. And so we would encourage you to consider that. And we would encourage you to bring true sweetness into your interactions with other humans. And by true sweetness, what we mean is the sweetness of loving other humans, the sweetness of respecting other humans, the sweetness of being in integrity in your interactions with other humans. This is true sweetness. And bringing more of that into your human experience feels sweet. It will allow you to have honest, truthful communication with the other humans you are interacting with. And that will feel sweet to you. We would also like to consider the word sweetness in relation to sweetness of experience, bringing sweet experiences into your everyday. This is very closely related to bringing joy into your life, which we highly encourage. But we use the word sweetness because sweetness has a slightly more calm, peaceful meaning. Joy can feel quite high energy, whereas sweetness feels soothing. It feels a little more calm and quiet. And so we would encourage you to consider the ways that you might bring sweetness into your day today, into your day every day. We would encourage you to make this part of your daily routine in whatever way works for you. Find the sweetness in moments throughout your day. You can bring sweetness in so many ways through foods that you enjoy to eat, through nature, walking in it, or perhaps observing it through a window, through interactions with humans that feel sweet, and interactions with the humans in your life who bring more sweetness into your experience. Consider the many ways that sweetness can impregnate your life. We like this word because we like the idea of sweetness as a seed that can grow bigger and bigger into a great plant of sweetness that is a part of your experience in your human life. Other ideas for bringing sweetness into your everyday include sweet textures. Perhaps you love very, very soft textures. Wear something very soft. Or perhaps hold a blanket or wrap yourself in a blanket that is very soft. Think about all five of your senses in relationship to sweetness and how all five of your senses can bring more sweetness into your everyday. We encourage this at this moment in time and also in the coming years. It will greatly support each and every one of you to bring these moments of sweetness, many, many moments of sweetness, into your everyday. And now that this has been brought to your conscious awareness, it will be much easier for you to bring these moments in. And we do encourage you to make this easy for yourself. Do not try to change your entire life in one day. Simply bring in little moments of sweetness to start, and then allow yourself to bring more and more and more. We will pause here and we would like to speak to one more thing before we move to the questions. We would like to speak to the fear that is currently permeating the human collective. We would like to point out to you that this will not last forever, one, and two, that this fear is a natural part of the change that is happening in human consciousness. There is a great wave of awakening moving across the human collective. And what we mean by awakening is awakening to the truth that you are all deeply, inextricably connected. And beyond even connection, you are all actually one. We understand that it is very difficult to wrap the human brain around this, and that is by design. You are here on this planet in this time to experience separation because separation, is so juicy to the one that you are. Separation allows you to have tiny, minute experiences, tiny moments of sweetness like we have described. Separation allows for that. And we do not want to gloss over the fact that separation is also highly painful much of the time, and that the fear that you are currently experiencing is part of that uncomfortable and painful side of separation. We would like to encourage you to keep in mind that yes, you will likely feel more fear in the coming months, and you likely have felt more fear in recent months than you normally do. If that is the case, this is your soul, your energetic self, calling you to begin to connect with your fear, to begin to honor your fear, and to begin to take the driver's seat of your life away from the fear. Fear is an essential tool, it is an essential part of your human experience, and it is not meant to be in the driver's seat all of the time. Some of the time, it is. And this is for you to discern, dear ones. You need to discern whether fear is currently supporting you in the driver's seat, or if allowing that fear to drive is actually inhibiting your growth and your enjoyment of your human experience. We would encourage you to consider these questions in the coming days and weeks and months and years. Use your fear as a tool and know that as you begin to see it as such, it will become less potent and it will be easier and easier to move through the periods of fear as they arise. And with this, we will pause and allow our facilitator to begin asking questions.
Okay. So first question. Um, how does Ozenan feel about the way the human race is headed for self-extinction? What
Mm,
will it take for us to reverse the process?
mm. This is an interesting question. We would first like to point out that the idea that humanity is pointed at self-extinction is not a big T truth. It is a little t truth, which means that that is very real for many humans at this time. And we do not mean to invalidate this fear because there are many environmental factors that are pointing to this exact scenario. But what we would like to remind you is that the future is truly fluid and that it can change at any time and at any moment. And so, even when it appears that you are careening towards a certain outcome as a collective, there are many, 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 many opportunities, moment to moment, for that outcome to shift, for you to be in pointing in another direction. And so, first, we would like to soothe your fears around this self extinction outcome and let you know that while, yes, this is a possible outcome, for those of you viewing this video and this transmission, the probability of that outcome is extremely minuscule, less than 0.1% probability. And so we would encourage you not to get too caught up in fear around that particular outcome. Now, when we say this, this does not mean that there will not be potential events that cause much loss of life. We do not mean that all humans will survive the shift that is occurring, but humanity is highly unlikely to go extinct. Instead, it is much more likely that humanity is going to evolve and shift dramatically in the coming 100 years, and even in the coming few years, because the shift has truly initiated at this point. And we know that those of you listening have felt this. You have felt the rumbling. You have felt the shaking of your worldview, of your consciousness. It is why you are here and listening. And now to address another piece of this question that we do feel is important to address. What can you do? Even though the total extinction of humanity is highly unlikely, humanity is still engaging in many behaviors that are not conducive to life on your planet. There is much destruction of the planet. There is much destruction of each other and your relationships with each other. There is much war and death. And so we would like to speak to what you can do as individuals. And here is what we would encourage above all else. Begin with your inner worlds. And we know that this is a message you hear over and over in many, many different ways to the point where it may feel like a cliche. But what we would like to point out is that there is great truth to the idea that the shift will begin with you. And this is true because individually, each of you come together to form a collective, and each individual plays into the energy of the collective, of course. But this is also true because each one of you is connecting with the version of reality that matches your frequency. We have spoken of this before in past videos. You are welcome to experience those transmissions if you would like. But what we would like to point out once again, because we feel it is important to bring this information through over and over, we would like to point out that you are each individually connecting with a version of the multiverse. We will use this word. You are each connecting with a version of Earth that is in the multiverse based on your frequency. There are an infinite number of Earths in the multiverse. There are an infinite number of Earths with an infinite number of things occurring on those Earths. And you are connecting with the version that most aligns with your deeply held beliefs, not necessarily your conscious beliefs, but your deep, deep subconscious beliefs. This is why programming is so essential to look at. And it is connecting with the version of the multiverse that you are connecting with. It is also connecting with your state, your frequency. And we do not mean to scare you that if you have a bad day, that suddenly you will connect with a hellish earth. It is the average of your frequency, we could say, that connects you with the version of reality that you experience. And we would also like to point out that you do not have conscious control over this for the most part. You can consciously begin to work with your inner self, work with your programming, and in these ways you can help to raise your frequency and connect with versions of reality that you prefer. But it is not a fully conscious exercise, as you are aware. We wish to stress this because there are many humans who imply that this is a more conscious practice than it truly is. And we do not wish for you, those of you listening today, to get caught up in the idea that you should be consciously commanding each and every detail of your life experience. That is not how creation works. And at the same time, you are powerful creators, and we wish to remind you of this. And so we would encourage you, if you are concerned about the direction that reality is going in your world, we would encourage you first to go inward, to connect with your inner world, and to begin to restructure your own inner world. And when you feel the time is right with that work, then begin to point your attention out of yourself and begin to point your compass towards what you would like to experience. the world you wish to see, not what you do not prefer to experience. There is much in the world you do not wish to experience. We know this. But instead of focusing on that, focus on what you do wish to experience. Focus on the world you wish to see on a collective and personal level. And with this, we will move to the next question.
I found a related question.
Oh,
With the chaos of the world and trying to stay focused on the present moment, how do I tell the difference in the energy frequencies? How do we know if the energy we are feeling is personal or collective?
this is an excellent question. We would encourage you to understand that more and more, you will not easily be able to discern between the two. And so, what we would encourage you to do is begin to create an inner sense of safety, an inner sense of peace, an inner sanctuary, if you will. We have spoken of this before, where you can go within yourself when you are feeling intensity. Mm, More and more, as human consciousness evolves, the collective sensations, the collective intensity will be felt by all. Humans are becoming more and more sensitive, and even humans who have had very little connection to the collective are beginning to perceive and experience the collective energetics, the collective intensity. And that is because the separation between all of the humanity, all humans, and the separation of humanity from its source is mm, thinning, we could say. Thinning of the veil is a good term for this. That separation is getting a little fuzzier. The boundaries are getting a little more loose, a little blurrier. And so humans will be experiencing collective energy much more often. And it will become more and more challenging to discern between what is yours and what is the collective's, because truly you are the collective. And so, on an individual level, what you can do is you can begin to practice energetic boundaries for yourself. You can begin to practice finding, again, sanctuary within you. You can create a space in your inner world, in your imagination, that you can go where you can simply be in peace and quiet and neutrality with yourself. And we highly encourage that everyone listening begin to develop this place that you can go. If you are not a visualizer in your mind, that is okay. You can develop a feeling place that you can go. It does not have to be visual. Whatever feels good for you is what you should create for yourself. But very consciously imagine a space within yourself where you can go, where things feel soothing, where things feel peaceful. You may wish to imagine a beautiful place that you remember from your life that felt soothing. You may wish to make up an imaginary place, keeping in mind that imagination is not necessarily unreal. Your imagination is a very powerful tool, and the places that you go in your imagination do, in fact, exist on another level, on another dimensional level. And so we would encourage you at this time to worry less about whether your emotions are collective or personal, and instead simply consider how you can feel them, allow them to move through you, and how you can create a space within yourself that gives you a sense of safety. And with this, we are open to another question.
Next question. Are there really soul contracts?
Mhm. This is an interesting question. It is one that the channel Brittany recently was curious about, actually. Soul contracts, as they have been discussed in your modern world, do not really exist. And what we would like to say is that there are decisions that your soul makes with other souls. There are decisions that your oversoul makes between you, your specific personality. So, for instance, Brittany, and other souls who are points of focus within that oversoul. So, other souls that share an oversoul with Brittany. Another way to put this is that two humans, their energies may make a contract, may decide to go on a specific journey together to experience imbalance and then rebalance. Often, these contracts are made just before birth. But what we would like to point out about this is that these contracts that are made just before birth do not apply to much of the later in life experience. They apply to the immediate experience of birth, of parents, of siblings, of a choice of where this soul will express itself genetically. As you move through your life experience, as you grow, as you age, your soul will connect with other souls and enter into contracts. The reason that we make this distinction that contracts are not all made before your birth, and in fact, most are not, is because there is an idea with soul contracts that everything is predetermined or fated. And this is not reality because all of you have free will. And so it is very important that you understand that as you make your free will choices and as you connect with other energies, with other souls, with other oversouls as well, that your soul, your energetic self, is making decisions with these other energies that it is encountering for experiences that it would like to have. And you, dear ones, have the ability to help direct these experiences that you wish to call in by using the exercise that we described in the answer to the past question. And so we would encourage you to think of soul contracts as a constantly evolving, constantly changing part of your existence. They are always in motion, they are always changing, they are always being completed or broken, and they are always being created. And now we are ready for another question.
Is what I am channeling correct?
Mm. We appreciate you asking this question. We would encourage you to let go of the idea of correct in this case. We would like you to know that what you are channeling is serving you and the humans that are connecting with that information at this time. And we would highly encourage you to be open to the possibility that the information will change dramatically as you continue to channel. And that when it changes, do not think that the old information was incorrect or correct. Rather, the old information was exactly what was needed for your human to move in the direction that they were ready to move. And the information will shift into what is most needed in the now moment for your human and for the humans who are interacting with that information. One of the beautiful things about channeling and about interacting with channeled material is that you can learn to follow the breadcrumbs of that information without attaching too tightly to it as literal truth. There is truth in channeling. Much truth comes through. And your reality is highly fluid, as we just discussed with the multiverse. And so it will shift dramatically all the time. And as it shifts, it does not mean that past information was incorrect or not truly channeled. It simply means that now new information will benefit your highest good. And now we are ready for another question.
Mm. How do I know if I'm creating a new life path rather than being delusional in the possibilities?
Oh, we love this question very much. We love delusion, the idea of delusion. It is such an interesting human concept. The idea of delusion is the idea that you can lie to yourself about what you are creating in your life. And to be clear, it is very possible to lie to yourself as a human. Humans do this all the time. There are many mental gymnastics that your minds hop into in order to justify different things in your reality and in your life experience. And this is okay. There is nothing wrong with that. It is part of humanity at this time. It is part of the human condition at this point in time. And with this question, we detect a note of big dreams that may feel delusional. This is a question that is asked because this human is dreaming huge for themselves. They are imagining an immense, beautiful life experience. And they are wondering if it is delusional for them to think that that is possible. And this is why we love this question, because it is possible. And we absolutely love when humans are courageous enough to dream big enough that they wonder if they are delusional. This is a beautiful use of the human imagination. The human imagination is immensely powerful. And what we would urge this person to consider is that dreaming this big is not delusional. It is beautiful. Or another way we could put this is that this type of delusion is highly supportive. And we would also encourage you to keep in mind that it is very likely that the outcome of your vision will look very different than what you are imagining. However, it will have a similar feeling, a similar sensation to the details you are imagining. And we would encourage you to continue dreaming big, to allow yourself to be delusional. And when things turn out a little differently than you imagined, do not think that you failed. Understand that that is just a next step on the path to this big dream that you are allowing yourself to dream. This is powerful, powerful work that you are doing. The imagination is the origination of all creation in the 3D reality. Consider the fact that all great inventions, all great ideas began in the imagination. This is how creation works in your 3D reality. And so allowing yourself to be quote unquote delusional in your imagination is giving yourself the gift of true freedom in creation. And now we will take another question.
Would love insight into the future of education here in the US. I work in that field. The Department of Education, higher education, and public school systems are currently shifting in many ways. Any direction for us as a collective or individually is welcome.
Mm, this is an excellent question. This, the education in your modern world, this is shifting dramatically. And it is shifting in many ways around the world. We would like to focus in on the United States system. Most of the people experiencing this transmission will be from the United States, and those who are not will still benefit from this information. There is a crumbling, a restructuring occurring in the systems, especially in the United States at this time. This is essential because there is a top-down hierarchy that has formed in this area that has become detrimental and not nourishing to the humans that it is meant to serve. The system is beginning to crumble and fall apart. This is quite obvious to all at this point. And the education system is no different. It is crumbling. It is shifting. It is not sustainable in its current state. But what we would encourage you to keep in mind, and the silver lining of this, is that the education system, as it has stood in this country, has not benefited many. It has benefited some, but it has not benefited many because it has required all humans to learn in one specific way to fit into one very specific, very tiny box. And because of that, many humans have not received the education that they truly desire simply because the educational system has not allowed them to learn in the way that they need to learn, in the way that their brain most likes to learn, in the way that their spirit most likes to learn. And so there is a rising of communities that will offer education in very different forms. There are schools that have arisen already that represent what will be possible in the future. And looking to those schools is a great way to get inspiration for how the educational system can be mm, rebuilt. And what we will offer that is a little more concrete is that it is highly likely that the educational system in the United States will no longer be directed at a national level and will be very much directed at a community level from community to community going forward. And there is a shift into that occurring now. We would encourage those of you who are working in the education system to keep this in mind and perhaps consider ways that you can begin to build communities of educational professionals, mm, begin to create communities that will be available to step up and educate in a variety of ways as the top-down structure of the educational system begins to crumble and fall apart. And now we are ready for another question.
Mm. Is there something I can do to fast track my music success?
Hmm, we appreciate this personal question. We would encourage you to begin thinking outside of the box about where you will connect with the humans that can, quote unquote, fast track your success. You have been looking in very specific places for these humans. And while those humans exist in those places, there are humans that your soul, your oversoul, are aligning, even as we speak, to connect with you that will be able to support your success in ways that you may not even imagine. And so we would encourage you to consider ways to meet humans that you have never considered before. Now, there are a variety of ways that you could do this. Perhaps you go to places that you would not normally go. Perhaps you engage in group activities you normally would not engage in. But the number one thing that you can do for yourself at this point is get yourself out into a variety of places in the world. And we do not mean to imply that you need to travel anywhere. You can do this locally. Get yourself out into a variety of places with a variety of humans, and then trust the humans you feel drawn to. Trust your own discernment. If someone seems interesting to you in a room, introduce yourself. Be friendly. It will require you to step out of your comfort zone in some ways, but this will reap great rewards for you personally and for the success of your career. And we are ready for another question.
I neglected my intuition and I think it's too late to change course. When is it too late?
Ah, this is an excellent question. Never. It is never too late. And this is why we love this question. It is so easy for humans to imagine that they have missed the boat, that there was only one opportunity and they missed it. This is never the case. What is truly meant for you, and we realize this is a cliche, what is truly meant for you will never pass you by. However, this is true because your soul will keep pointing you in the direction of a similar opportunity over and over and over because your soul would like to experience something. And when your soul has something specific it would like to experience, it is going to keep nudging you in that direction over and over and over. And so, simply by asking this question, you are telling yourself that you would like to connect with your intuition, that you would like to open up more, that you would like to explore your intuition. And your soul will make many opportunities for you to do this. The key is for you to let go of the idea that there was one opportunity or one way, or that by repressing intuition for any portion of your life, that you have now turned it off and made it impossible. This is not so. All you need to do is trust that your intuition is available to you still and just begin to open up to what feels fulfilling. What feels fulfilling to you? Moment to moment, consider this question and follow those breadcrumbs. They will lead you to the reopening of your intuition, although even the reopening is not exactly accurate. No one's intuition is ever completely turned off. It is not possible. And now we are ready for the next question.
What are we missing regarding cancer? What is being hidden from us, and what can we do to end it?
Hmm, this is an enormous question. We will answer in this way. Cancer is a dis-ease, and we have pronounced this word in that way for a reason. Cancer is a dis-ease that has to do with imbalance in your system. And as many of you know, you live in a modern world that is highly imbalanced. We have spoken about this in many ways. Many of these questions point to the imbalance of the current reality that you are inhabiting. And beautifully, you are in a time of rebalance. Cancer is a, mm, a sign of imbalance, and it is a calling to rebalance your system. As far as what is being hidden from you, we would encourage you not to focus on what may or may not be hidden from you at this time. We would instead encourage you to focus on what you would like to see in this area of medicine. What would you like to see? Would you like to see cancer be easily curable? Would you like to see cancer disappear from the collective entirely? Begin to think about what you would like this to look like. We would point out that the experience of having a disease like cancer can be highly empowering and powerful for some individuals. This is not the case for all individuals. And yet, the experience of having a massive and scary dis-ease is one way that souls open their humans up to greater alignment and greater understanding. And this does not have to be one of the ways that this is done. This is not necessary for human evolution. And so, again, we would encourage each of you to consider this dis-ease of cancer, if this feels relevant for you, of course. Consider the role that it plays in your life experience. Has this dis-ease affected you directly? Has it affected you perhaps indirectly? Would you like to see a world where it does not exist at all? Imagine what you would like to experience, the reality that you would like to be in. We would also like to point out that this is a potent question in relation to the channel, Brittany, that we are speaking through. Brittany was diagnosed with cancer and went through a immense cancer journey. This is something that you can find about her online and in her information. And in the case of Brittany, the experience of moving through her cancer experience was highly expansive and highly rewarding in the end as she looks back in retrospect. We share this because, again, there are many different perspectives on the experience of dis-ease in your world. We would also simply like to say that we understand that this disease, cancer, is one that invokes a great deal of fear in the human collective at this time. And as we speak about this, if you feel a little scared, if your nervous system feels a little activated, then we would encourage you to look at that fear, to consider what is it about that fear that is coming up for me right now? And what is my relationship with this fear? This is a good opportunity to mm, communicate with your fear. And now we will take another question.
We have 10 minutes left. Would you like to take a question or address the group?
We will take one more question, please.
Okay. Um, is there anything my guides want to tell me at this time?
Mm, yes, the individual who asked this question, we would like to offer you an image, and you may take this as it resonates. We would like to offer you the image of a great dragon. It is a lavender purple color with green accents. And this dragon, mm, it appears almost crystalline, not so 3D. And we offer you this image because this is a being, an energy that is taking the shape of the dragon very consciously. This is one of your guides, taking the shape of the dragon very consciously in order to connect with, mm, in order to connect with the parts of you that are ready to come online at this time. And so, what we would offer you is that dragon energy is power, it is courage, it is mystical and connected to the non physical realms, and it is fast moving. And so, we would encourage you to bring this image into your awareness in meditation and see what this dragon has to share with you directly. And with that, we will complete. We thank all of you for the questions that you asked today. They were very interesting. We enjoyed them immensely. And we thank you for your openness in being willing to communicate in this way at this time. And with love, we are complete. Mm. Mm. Hello.
We
Oh,
asked all but three questions.
wow. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, so that's great. We were thinking that we weren't going to be able to even get close, but we got through lots of them. Oh, that's so cool.
yeah, yeah.
So those
And
three
I'll say,
questions, I'll try to do another video sometime and add, or maybe add those in to a transmission.
yeah. One thing I did want to ask is aftercare. What kind of aftercare should people engage
Mm.
in after engaging with the video?
Yes, wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's so important. Um, okay, so what I would recommend is drink plenty of water, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. I would think of this if you've ever had like a Reiki healing, energy work. Think of this as a very similar experience. There is a lot of energy moving through these transmissions, and when you receive the transmission, you're receiving a lot of energy. So I would recommend drinking plenty of water, be gentle with yourself. If you notice waves of emotion coming up, that is likely due to this. It is likely a result of this. So just let those emotions move through you. Let yourself feel them. You don't need to necessarily know why you're feeling those emotions. Just let yourself feel them. And the other thing that I would recommend with this is if you feel so inclined, I highly recommend laying down with your eyes closed. Um, and re-listening to this if you haven't already experienced it in that way, because it's an energetic transmission along with the verbal transmission. And so if you've just listened to it verbally, you've still received a lot of energy, but you can even go deeper with that energetic experience if you lay down with your eyes closed and just listen to it with headphones. And know that when you do that, it's okay if you fall asleep. It's okay if you're not actually listening to the words. That will help the energy penetrate more deeply. And then please feel free to reach out to me if you have questions or you want to discuss something that came through here. In the show notes below the video, I'm going to put my website and my Instagram. You can DM me on Instagram. I have a contact form on my website. I'm also going to put Frankie's information just so that if you want to connect with her and her work, you can do that. I highly recommend you do. She's amazing. Um, yeah, I think that's all on aftercare. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to stop recording?
Yeah, I guess that's it. So thank you everyone for watching. Yeah, head down to the description box below if you want to connect with me and Frankie more directly. All right. Have a beautiful day, everyone.